Good morning, guys. Hi, Mr. Morris here. And I want to talk to you guys about our final step in this project on the election and government. The final step is the presentation. And inside the project packet that you see in front of you here on our screen, inside this is our presentation page. Now, I've already filled out some of it, so I'm going to go ahead and click on it and discuss it with you. Okay? So let me go there right now. Okay, so here we are on the presentation page. And as I said, I've already filled it out. The one thing you need to know is you're going to need note cards because you're going to want to put this information here on note cards. This information is going to go on note cards because the packet is going to be turned in to the teacher, but the information, once again, on note cards. So let's talk about what we're doing. You're not going to get up there and read your paper to the class. This is what I call kind of a quick hitter presentation, but it's audience interactive. They're going to be asking you questions. So as you go through the questions here on your project sheet, your presentation sheet, here's what you need to fill in. So you're going to go to the page inside your packet and it says your thesis statement. And you're going to write the thesis statement that you've been working with. So I'm going to pretend that my paper was on the Curse of King Tut that has nothing to do with our topic about government election. But let's just pretend this is my paper. The discovery of King Tut's tomb was both amazing and risky because it came with a mysterious curse. Okay, so the rest of my paper better be about the discovery and the mystery and how risky it was. Okay, that's what my paper better be about. And it is. And here are my three support items. Here are the three information pieces that I looked up. So when I did my paper, I broke my paper into three evidence pieces. The first one was British excavationist Howard Carter discovered King Tut and the curse. The next one is people were afraid of the curse at first, but not Howard Carter, and later science would solve the mystery. And finally, my third piece, and you remember these are all paragraphs in my paper, there were some good things and bad things that happened to the people who discovered the tomb. So what I'm going to do in my presentation is I'm literally going to get up there and say, my note cards, hi, my name is Kurt Morris. My topic was on King Tut's tomb and mystery of the curse. And here is my thesis. I'm going to read my thesis. And here are my three evidence points that my paper is based on, just like your paper has three evidence statements, 1, 2, and 3. And then when I'm done with that, I'm just going to read this piece called significance. And this is important because the significance is why should we know this? Why should we learn this from you? What is the point that we should be sitting here listening? Because really, who cares, right? It is your job to explain why we need to know this as a class. And so I briefly wrote, it's important to know this as a class. The discovery of King Tut's changed archaeology as we know it. Before the discovery of King Tut's tomb, Egypt was more like a treasure hunting ground than it was anything to do with research and knowledge. And then because his tomb was discovered and it was the only intact tomb, nobody'd ever found an intact tomb before, filled with journals and information and relics about religion, we as a society learned more about Egypt than ever before. And because of this discovery, Egypt then became a land of study and research about this fascinating culture. Okay, so that's my significance. Now I'm pretty much done. This bottom part here is for anything else you want to add that's extra. You are not required to add anything, but this is here to talk about maybe the good and bad thing about your research, what you enjoyed or did not enjoy about writing your paper, what you liked or what you did not like about your topic. But this is extra. So now I'm done with my presentation. That's it. My thesis, my three support statements, and my significance. Here's the hard part. Now, everybody in the class gets to raise their hand and ask you questions about either your thesis, and you better know what your thesis means. They're going to ask you questions about your three support statements, and you better know what each support statement is. If I said Howard Carter discovered the tomb and the curse, I better be able to talk about Howard Carter and the discovery. If I talk up here about people were afraid of the curse but not Howard Carter, and later science would solve it, I better know how science proved it wrong. I better know how Howard Carter, why he was not scared of the curse, and I better want to know why. You better explain why people were afraid of this curse. And third, if I say several good and bad things happened because of the tomb, you better tell me what happened that was bad, and you better tell me what happened that was good, because people are going to ask these questions. And then finally, down here in your significance, if I'm up here talking about why Egypt was so important and discovery of the tomb, an intact tomb, and the fact that we now learn more about Egypt, you better be able to explain every single piece of this. Because the moment somebody says, who is Howard Carter and how you discovered the tomb? And you say, I'm not sure. What's your paper about? Right? Your paper is about term limits or George Washington or Ronald Reagan or the Supreme Court or whatever it is. You better know what your support statements are. Because if you do not, you're going to lose a ton of points in this presentation. And the presentation is my grade. So you're going to need to have note cards with this information on it. I would make sure I have as much information written about each one of these support statements on my note cards to refresh yourself. I'm not asking you to guess. I'm not asking you to try and remember. Write everything you need to know down on these note cards. And if you need to go back and research a little bit and find out a little more to provide more information on these note cards and these questions, you should. Because there's nothing worse than getting out from a group of people and being asked questions and your entire answer is, I don't know. And you had 4 weeks to write this paper. So know every single inside and out of your paper because this is your presentation. If you have any questions, come talk to me. Make sure you fill out these note cards. Make sure this information is very well in depth and you understand it very well. And make sure that your significance piece is well written out and you're able to explain it because you will be taken to task and you will be exposed if you do not know what you're talking about. All right? It's better to be prepared than not to be. Thanks for listening. Come talk to me if you have any questions.